Hey guys, welcome back to WallBuilders. We are going through another day of One Room Schoolhouse, looking at more artifacts and things that we are continuing to add to the collection. And we will spend several weeks going through a lot of new things we get, as well as telling some of the new stories that now, because of artifacts, we can tell with a little more historical significance as far as identifying, so this person, this is something from them, cool stuff along the way. With that being said, one of the things that we got recently is a lithograph, and at the bottom it says fugitives for conscience sake. And conscience is referring to the religious conscience from the early settlers. And this is looking back toward the Pilgrim, the Puritan era, as they are leaving the kind of old world, so to speak, coming to the new world of America. And one of the things that is largely forgotten today is that so many people that came to America in the early formative years were coming because of religious conscience. Under the king, they had to follow the doctrines that the king upheld. So whatever the church was, if it was the Catholic Church or the Anglican Church, whatever it was, they had to follow those doctrines. And if you weren't Catholic or Anglican and you didn't follow those doctrines, you could be punished or persecuted. And so these guys said, our conscience is calling us to do something different, and they couldn't do it in the old world. They came to America. It seems that most people today don't realize how much of early America was largely settled and established, certainly the New England area, by people who were pursuing God to be able to serve Him according to the dictates of their own conscience, which just seems to have been forgotten today.
Yeah, Tim, and even as you move forward to the Revolutionary War period, so many of the founding fathers said that one of the reasons why they were fighting, why they were rebelling, why they were trying to institute a new nation was to secure those rights of conscience, those rights of religious liberty and freedom, which are so important for us today. And even guys like George Washington, Sam Adams, they say in their writings, one of the very important things that led them to become founding fathers was this desire to have religious freedom and the rights to, worship according to the dictates of their conscience. And in fact, one of the really neat artifacts that we picked up is this little book right here. It is called The Christian Statesmen of America. And what's even kind of really interesting about this is that written for the Massachusetts Sabbath School Society and approved by the Committee of Publication. So this is done for Sunday school, basically. But what's fascinating is, and this is from 1848, the 5 names that they chose to highlight what it means to be a Christian statesman. They're all founding fathers. The first one, George Washington, always a good pick. But also you have John Jay, right? He was one of the writers of the Federalist Papers, so an important guy, a judge as well. You also have
Supreme Court Justice.
Yeah, for a little bit. Kind of an important position. William Livingston, Roger Sherman, Samuel Adams, these very important guys, and I'm sure we've talked about all of them
signers of founding documents in America. But the fact that going to Sunday school back then was actually kind of more school than it was today. If you had gone to a Sunday school class growing up, you probably were learning Bible stories.
Yeah, maybe coloring pages and things of that nature.
Right. For me, there was still felt boards, and you were sticking things on. There weren't dry erase boards or technology the way it is today. Anyway, with all that being dated, what's interesting about the Sunday school movement in society is they were actually helping people learn to read, and certainly learning the Christian foundations for life, for culture. But if we're going to help people learn what it means to be a Christian, they said, well, there's 5 really good examples of Christian statesmen. Today, people would have no idea that founding fathers largely were viewed as Christians by people. 1848, you're talking about all these founding fathers, their grandkids are still around. And so this is something that at this point, there's some affirmation from even culture saying, oh yeah, I remember this, or I saw that, or I experienced this. This is something so unique looking at America, recognizing that the very first people that came to America, so many of them were coming for religious conscience purposes to worship God the way that they believed God had called them to do it. But then looking even at our founding fathers, how many of them were Christian, things that really we just don't know as much about today. If you want to know more about some of these thoughts and ideas, go to the WallBuilders website, wallbuilders.com, and we have over 1,000 articles and actually all kinds of great resources highlighting some of these stories, who they were, what they did. There's no doubt about it that our nation was founded largely by Christians, and in many cases people that came to America because of religious liberty.